We're going to find out that 58-year-old men are 58-year-old men no matter what they look like.
Right.
And Jake Paul is a 28-year-old athlete in the prime of his life.
Yeah.
Look at how fake this fight is. Tyson could have ended it with a knockout here, but instead, he chose to just run around and do nothing.
Actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do.
Joe Rogan just absolutely roasted the idea of a Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul rematch. Like he didn't just destroy it, he set it on fire and watched it burn. Look, we've all got respect for Tyson and his legendary career, but after this whole scripted fight mess, that respect's starting to look a little thin.
Fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago. Now this script has went viral. Let's see how accurate it was. The opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style.
Even Turki Alik, the guy who's got more cash than sense, decided to mock Tyson with a $700 million offer for a rematch. Like, if Tyson's willing to sell out for money, let's see how much we can buy him for. And after all that, both Tyson and Jake Paul decided to back off, like they suddenly remembered they had better things to do.
Thing, man. It's a different thing with that guy.
Well, it's like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
no
but you
doubt.
know, you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul's very smart, man. Like he gets guys that he's bigger
than,
the only
younger
time
than.
he fought another boxer his size was
He
Tom
lost.
Fury, and he lost.
But don't worry, Joe Rogan swooped in to deliver the cold, hard truth about why this rematch is never happening.
What other sport would we let a 58-year-old man compete other than golf?
Right.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we letting this happen?
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but he's made for it, man. Like he's made
Mike
for it.
is?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Listen,
what he
I'm-
is.
Dude, he's perfectly capable of knocking him out.
And it hurts more now because, as we all know, Tyson, a guy who's made a career out of knocking people out, looked like he was sleepwalking through the ring on November 15th. His punches barely connected, his footwork was non-existent, and his whole vibe screamed, "I'd rather be anywhere else." The real question is, was Tyson really that out of shape? Or was he just not trying? I mean, fans were out here wondering if the whole thing was scripted, and honestly, I don't blame them. This wasn't the Tyson we've all respected for years. This was the Tyson who looked like he'd rather be sipping tea than throwing punches.
The Tyson versus Paul script was fully leaked all the way down to the bow Jake did in round 8. This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it.
Enter Joe Rogan, who wasted zero time calling out the whole charade. He went in hard, mocking Tyson's punches and his turtle-paced movements. Rogan didn't hold back, labeling the fight a con job. If Tyson could throw a fight without putting Jake Paul on the mat, why not do it again? According to Rogan, Tyson wasn't interested in winning. He was just there for the paycheck. And when you really think about it, it all makes sense. Tyson didn't look like a man trying to reclaim his championship. He looked like a man just doing what he had to do to get paid. Forget legacy. It was all about the money.
Let me ask your opinion about last night. Did you stay up to watch Mike Tyson and Jake Paul?
I actually did. I actually watched it, and I felt, while watching it, I felt disgusted. Disgusted at Jake Paul for putting this together, knowing that Tyson was 58 years old. See, I'm a fighter myself, and I once tried coming back at 48 years old, and my body just shut down.
And that's where things get really interesting. Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, run by Turki Alik, came in with a $700 million offer for a rematch.
Now, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, he wants to see the rematch between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, and he's now offering Mike Tyson $700 million.
That's not just pocket change. That's the kind of offer that makes you forget all about your legacy and start thinking about how many mansions you can buy. Sure, Tyson's a legend, but for $700 million, I'd probably step into the ring with Jake Paul too. Who cares if it tarnishes your legacy? That kind of cash doesn't grow on trees.
So when you're gonna fight a 28-year-old like Jake Paul, against Tyson, who is a legend. He's a national treasure, a world treasure. I felt a little disgusted. Not on Mike Tyson. I feel bad for Tyson, but you know what? I'm proud of Tyson. But Jake Paul, hey, if you want to fight Zurdo right now, let's do it, and he will knock you out.
Then there's Jake Paul. Oh, Jake. The man who's turned questionable fights and viral moments into a full-blown career. Whether you love him or hate him, there's one thing Jake knows how to do. Get attention. He's not winning boxing matches for his skill. He's winning the drama, the clicks, and the spectacle. He's a walking reality TV show. And let's be honest, that's why he's still in the spotlight. The second the Tyson rematch was off the table, Jake Paul wins. Because Jake never has to actually step into the ring with someone who could challenge him. Instead, he gets to keep riding the wave of controversy without ever being tested. It's genius, really. Why risk getting knocked out when you can keep being the victim of a canceled fight?
Such an incredible fight, and bring it to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
It is not something to surprise or not. We have a lot to fight.
As for Joe Rogan, his take on Jake Paul's boxing career is crystal clear. It's not about sportsmanship. It's about views, headlines, and drama. To Rogan, Jake is playing the game for fame, not for the competition. Why risk a real fight with Tyson when you can keep the hype train going without ever being exposed for your lack of skill? For Jake, avoiding the rematch is just another way to keep the clicks coming. Why get knocked out or humiliated when you can keep pretending you're a champion? On the other hand, Mike Tyson's legacy, once built on pure fear and respect inside the boxing ring, is starting to feel like it's slipping through his fingers. In his prime, Tyson was the definition of dominance.
It was like, people don't understand what a champ he was. Like, he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world, he was an executioner.
From 1985 to 1990, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at the age of 20. And by the time he hit his stride, he was annihilating opponents with brutal knockouts that left everyone in awe. His raw power was something fans could only marvel at, and his presence was enough to make even the most seasoned boxers think twice before stepping into the ring. But now, in the twilight of his career, Tyson's decline is hard to ignore. The man who once struck terror into the hearts of opponents is now backing down from rematches and avoiding public confrontations about his past performances.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40.
Take, for example, his refusal to rematch Jake Paul. After their first fight, which many people suspect was more about spectacle than genuine competition, Tyson has seemingly closed the door on any further fights. What does that do to his legacy? Joe Rogan doesn't mince words on this subject. He's gone on record calling Tyson's reluctance to rematch Paul a betrayal of the fans who once looked up to him. In a 2024 podcast, Rogan openly criticized Tyson, accusing him of valuing comfort and avoiding the challenge of redemption in the ring. He went so far as to say Tyson's refusal tarnished his previously undefeated legacy, which, up until his loss to Buster Douglas in 1990, had been untouchable. Tyson's actions now suggest that he's more interested in avoiding risk than restoring the glory of his past.
Is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around.
Tyson's reluctance to return to the ring is an open question that fans have been trying to answer. Sure, his age is a factor. Tyson is 58 years old, and at that point in any athlete's life, you start worrying about health and injury risks. But it's not just about age. Tyson's health has been a public concern for years now. After years of hard living and injuries, his body just isn't what it used to be. Many speculate that Tyson's hesitant attitude toward rematches is not just about his physical limitations. It's a fear of public perception. He's aware of the risks involved, sure, but more importantly, he knows how fragile his reputation is.
A lot of things about this.
You're just a big fight fan.
Yeah.
You love boxing.
Yeah.
Yes. Why? Where did that come from?
From the youngest generation.
Would another poor performance, or, God forbid, a knockout at the hands of Jake Paul damage his legacy irreparably? In a sense, Tyson might be terrified of confirming what everyone is already whispering. He's no longer the baddest man on the planet. Why would Tyson, a man who already made a fortune, risk his health and his legacy for a payday that massive? It seems pretty clear that Tyson's decision was driven by one thing: money. At 58, it's unlikely that Tyson needs the money to survive, but with such a massive amount on the table, it's hard to say no, even if it comes at the expense of your reputation. Saudi Arabia, under the leadership of Turki Alik, has been investing heavily in bringing big-time sports events to the country.
It is not something is surprise or not. We have a lot to fight before, and in the kingdom we are focusing in a lot of things.
The kingdom has been attempting to position itself as a global leader in entertainment, from Formula One to boxing. With Tyson's name still being a brand, even if his punches aren't as sharp as they once were, the offer of $700 million wasn't just about the fight. It was about bringing Tyson back into the spotlight, making a statement, and getting the world's eyes on Saudi Arabia. This fight would have been a spectacle, no doubt. But what is the personal cost for Tyson? By accepting such an offer, Tyson may very well have compromised everything he once stood for. In the 80s and 90s, Tyson was all about being the toughest, the most feared. He fought for titles, respect, and the pure love of competition. But now, it seems Tyson's priorities have shifted. Whether he'll admit it or not, he's trading legacy for cash.
He's now offering Mike Tyson $700 million to knock out Jake Paul. And it's all coming from...
And sure, a lot of fighters have made similar moves. Ali did it, Floyd Mayweather did it. But Tyson's situation feels different. He was never just about the money. He was a street kid who fought his way up to the top of the world. So when someone like Tyson takes a multi-million-dollar deal for a rematch with Jake Paul, it feels like he's betraying everything he worked for in his prime. This whole situation paints a grim picture of Tyson's post-boxing career. Instead of cementing his legacy with meaningful challenges, Tyson is at risk of being remembered not for his brutal knockout power, but for cashing in on gimmicky fights. The man who once ruled the boxing world with an iron fist is now just another player in the spectacle-driven entertainment industry. And let's face it, that's not how people wanted to remember Mike Tyson. He was supposed to be the icon, the fighter who left it all in the ring, the guy who put the fear of God into his opponents. But now, Tyson's legacy is at risk of being tainted by decisions that scream money grab instead of champion.